Whoa! Why did my drink just blow up? Welcome to episode 64 of the Zach Val Show. Today we have updates on what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the war right now in Iran, the so-called war, and affordability. Today, though, we have a slightly different setup, as you may have already been able to tell. We're shooting at a different angle. Second angle. We brought the second angle back. And instead of Sean being on the ones and twos, because it is a beautiful weekend, Mr. Joe Baird subbing in on the ones and twos. Say what's up.
Yo, what up, dude?
How do you feel as the maestro behind the system today?
I feel fine. I mean, I streamed on Twitch for a year and a half, so I used to do this while talking, so it seems easier, but getting to know your setup is fun.
But he's the first person that right before this, like, hey, it's my first time. If I mess up, don't be mad, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, guys, when the video's messed up, don't be mean.
Joe is a master.
I'm a grown man trying my
Joe's
best.
a master of the ones and twos. Joe, before we get started, give me your just quick take. As an American in southern Delaware, you're grocery buying, gasoline in the pump filling, just standard American. How do you feel about this war going on right now? Just give me your thoughts.
I mean, I feel okay. I feel like I'm less affected than most because I get work from home 2 days a week usually, so I don't commute as much. And then it's just me and the wife, so I don't have like kids to feed or nothing. I feel like that would make it maybe more stressful, but I'm low-key chilling for now. It's stressful to see a lot of the stuff going on. Like, nobody likes watching war footage.
You don't like watching war footage?
No.
Dude, I fall asleep to war footage now.
I feel bad because it's people I don't know. Like, I like watching police body cam footage, like, in the U.S., because I feel like I've met all those people. You know what I mean? It's, like, easy for me to see that reality.
That's fair. I've met this kind of person. Yeah, I get that. I get that. The effects really haven't hit. Have the effects of the war not hit the regular everyday American hard enough for us to care enough yet? Or are the effects already here that we should care?
I mean, yeah, dude, gas going up $1.
And going back up, because it was trending down. It looked like here in Delaware, we peaked at about $4.12.
Yeah.
And then it went back to like $3.85. I don't comment where you're at, by the way, where gas prices are where you are. This is Delaware. But now, I think at the Wawa, it's $4.22.
Yeah, I mean, I usually get 89 too, just because it's better. I've always just used 89.
89?
Octane instead of 87.
Is it really a difference?
There is.
Is it really a difference?
Here's the thing. If you went to your doctor and they told you to eat something good for your body, would you do that?
Sure.
If a car mechanic told you to put 89 in your car, put 89 in your car. It's that simple.
Okay, I hear you. But you bring up food. That's a great example. After decades, we found out that the foods we thought were seemingly healthy aren't. Is there a chance? Is there a chance that that's just another way to make more money?
But I don't think the auto mechanic's making more money off gas.
100%. He could be under that impression too.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's just doing what he was trained.
There was a recent study I had read that was, I think, 2 months back. By the way, shout out the new microphone. If you like the quality of the audio, comment something. We're trying to upgrade things for better experience here for you. Shout out to all the people in our Dollar Club on our YouTube membership side. They're making stuff like this possible so that we don't have to take on sponsorships and we can keep upgrading the quality. The study that I had read was that somebody who was eating salad regularly every day had a higher chance of getting cancer due to the carcinogens used in the pesticides on those plants than somebody who is eating like fast food every day, for example. Even if that's not true, if there's an inkling of a chance at receiving a long-term life-ending illness from eating salad, it makes me wonder about 89 octane.
Every time I hear stuff like that, it just makes me think in a vacuum, who got so harped on this? Because it could be like 0.2% more likely. But then if you eat McDonald's every day, what are the chances of you getting heart disease? I bet it's a lot higher.
That's
and
super fair.
More people die from heart disease.
I'm not suggesting eating McDonald's every day.
That's
either.
why, like, every time
Not
these new health
suggesting that
articles
either.
come out, I'm just like, sick. Unless it's like 20 times more likely, I kind of ignore it. Like I saw one that was like, if you drink energy drinks every day, you're like 20 times more likely to have a stroke in your 30s or 40s than someone who doesn't. I was like, yeah, I'll stop drinking energy drinks. That's good advice. But if it's like, oh, you have a higher chance of getting cancer if you're left-handed, how much higher is it? How much higher is it really? Because I don't think that matters.
The lefties.
Yeah, I will say the biggest, maybe I'm not affected by the wartime, but just looking at taxes, this was our first year doing taxes, filing married, because I got married last year.
I thought you said this is your first year doing taxes. I was about to say, welcome.
No. It's been doing it every year.
We need to have a conversation
But
afterwards.
I was married, bought the house last year, so we had, the first time we were able to depreciate and like file that as an asset. So we had the most deductions we were able to file for ever. Our return was smaller than ever as well because of where we are. Yeah.
Because I think some people have reported slightly higher returns this year. Slightly higher, I think, is a percentage this year of returns, but not for you.
Not for me. It was a tough go.
And you've always been in that kind of W-2 1099-ish position for a while, so you're kind of used to that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wasn't great.
Smaller return, and you had the assets to depreciate. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, it's not a tax podcast, so we'll get off that.
Yeah.
Let's get into the economy, brother. Can we, let's start with where we've been. Past few episodes, we've started with some similar graphs. I want to bring these up. For number one here, we have the S&P 500. Whew. This, every day, let me take a drink. Every day, I'm watching Bloomberg, MSNBC, trying to get a sense of just what's going on financially, because there's a lot to keep up with. There's war, there's the middle class economy, there's AI, there's tariffs, but the day-to-day of what's happening internally with businesses and what's affecting the bond market and the stock market, not only in America, but in Europe and Australia and Japan and China, it all interplays with itself. So I try to keep up as best I can. For the life of me, and I've a longtime friend of this show and of mine, Robert from Infonomics, is a macro market studier of sorts, and I have other day trader friends that I've talked to about this, and nobody really knows what's going on. The inflation numbers have absolutely led toward a world where the dollar is weakening. Potentially that's signaling investors to throw money into assets, possibly. But at the end of the day, none of the actual graphs that would signal a stronger economy from this war, or that the war is getting close to ending, which there's no other signs of that. And we'll talk about this at the end, because at the end of this, I want you to stick around, because I'm going to have a clippable moment for you, something you can stash in your photos, see in 6 months if you can rub it in my face or not. 3 predictions for the next 6 months. Going to do that here at the end. Stick to the end for the notes. But this part right here is so odd to me. The February 28th S&P 500 index was below 7,000. Now, for the first time in its history, has eclipsed 7,000, now sitting at $7,230.12. We can see the dip and then the rise. Let's go over to our next graph, because nothing else looks pre-war. In fact, gasoline's gotten worse. Gasoline has indeed gotten worse, which kind of matches with what we were just saying about the Delaware market. So again, comment where gas is in your area. If you could say, hey, pre-war a couple weeks ago today, that'd be great. Pre-war a couple weeks ago today. Because pre-war, can you highlight like February 25th, February 27th, somewhere on there? Let's find it. February 27th. There we go. So pre-war, we're sitting at $2.28.5. Today, we're $1.25 higher. We're at $3.59.5 now as the average gasoline gallon across the country. So that's affecting everyday commuters, filling up your lawnmower, whatever you need fuel for. Heck, if these prices were to stick around for a while and these fuel costs hit when you have to fill up your propane tanks for the heat over the winter, that's going to really hurt as someone who orders a big old tank full of heating oil every year. I really hope these prices settle back down before we get like to October and November, because then it's going to be a heavy cost on me. It's like a whole nother mortgage.
Yeah, and from like a layman, dummy, non-economics guy perspective, wouldn't it make sense for this to be higher and then the S&P to do better? Because this is basically a lot of this cost gets passed on to the consumer, which means that the profits make their way to the S&P 500 companies, or am I misguided and misjudged in that?
I don't think you're misguided at all. In fact, we're going to go through an article in a bit from BP that kind of signals why that may be happening, because just like you said, when prices go up on a consumer good, in this case, just gas, that's a basic consumer good. It's a necessity for the American lifestyle. When that cost goes up, the threat is consumer spend. The threat is that the cost goes higher, people travel less, people get on planes less, people go and do just normal everyday things, adding to their own local economies less. But with that higher cost, if we don't see that drop, if we do see people still continuing to do the same everyday things they were doing regardless of this cost, yeah, there are going to be companies that are benefiting from it. And that means there are going to be investors who are buying in on the publicly traded shares, like a BP Oil, for example, because they are making more money. On top of that, the inflation is weakening the dollar. That could have a lot to do with it. But it's just another reason why, and why we keep saying on the show, the stock market is not the economy. It's not even close to a direct reflection of what the middle class, working class citizens' economy is. I haven't seen a single working class person get super excited about the S&P 500 while they're spending $400 at the grocery store. Personally, if you're that person, great. I haven't seen anybody in the working class economy think, great, it's going to cost $1,400 a month for my child to go through childcare while me and my wife both work dual jobs. I work overtime, and I also have to pick up an Uber shift, and think, I'm super happy the S&P 500's up. I haven't found that person. I know that certain IRA accounts, retirement accounts flourish, but the working class is not seeing the benefit of it. And this war, we're going to get into more. Let's go to our next graph. This is crude oil, still above 100. It peaked below just ever so slightly. But as we see before the war began, $67. And pretty standard in that 60-ish range. You have to get back to the COVID supply hold up to see this go back into these 100 ranges, but then shortly came back down. We're sitting at 100, and people like Jamie Dimon, people like Larry Fink, and others believe that if we stay in these $100 a barrel ranges, what this is going to do is it's going to cause a global financial crisis. Why? Because fuel goes to everything. Everything involves fuel, from travel for you and I, but also to importing and exporting of the very goods that you want to buy. It impacts every nuanced piece of this economy because everything requires either a truck or a car or a machine or a boat or a plane or something to fabricate the item. There's no item, it's the minority of items that is not affected by increase in energy and increase in oil, because oil affects all. Food and fuel affects all. If we go to the next one, we'll see more on food. Now, this is nitrogenous, how do you pronounce that word? It's like the third podcast I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Nitrogenous.
There
you go.
Nitrogenous fertilizer manufacturing is peaking up. We got, that's 2022. Again, that supply crisis, which is a great topic for a whole other podcast of how greedflation took hold during that supply crisis of 2022. But as we can see, the price continues to go up, and this is the cost to manufacture that fertilizer that is needed for farmers to put seeds in the ground in the farms in America. And guess which country is actively planting at this moment? Take one guess. It rhymes with Bamerica. Let's go to our next one. And we'll set this one in. Lone good news. And guys, I got to be honest with you. I have no clue why this dropped. I have no clue why urea took a hockey stick dive down to 585. I don't know if it's how they gather their data, if there's some kind of macro, like when it happened as soon as it hit May, and there was another giant increase as soon as we went into March. So I don't know if there's something in the gathering of this data that has to do with the month to month. I don't know. There might be something there because when you go from April 30th to May, it drops significantly. But if that cost is going down, that's the cost of fertilizer. The urea is straight up used as fertilizer. So that cost going down is good. But again, I can't find any reason as to why yet. Any theories, Joe? Or are you just lost as I am? Because I looked it up. I couldn't find anything.
I feel like we could speculate a little bit later in the pod. There might be a couple things that might be relevant, but I don't know. It's correlation versus causation. Yeah. I wouldn't really know how to tell.
More banter to come on that. Okay, let's get into our next one and start rolling into what's happening in the economy, because this is what you just brought up. This is a video about BP oil. It says new report from BP oil shows their profits have doubled since the Iran war started. By the way, the TV that I read off of, much closer. So less verbal typos from your boy. BP posted $3.2 billion in underlying replacement cost profit, more than doubled from its $1.38 billion in quarter one of 2025 last year. BP has come under fire after revealing that its profits more than doubled in the first 3 months of this year, thanks to the soaring cost of crude oil caused by the Iran war. This is directly correlated with both gas prices and energy prices in homes, and oil companies are posting record-breaking profits while everyone else is getting destroyed by the cost of living. Let's play this video from 4 News.
BP has come under fire after revealing that its profits more than doubled in the first 3 months of the year, thanks to the soaring cost of crude oil caused by the Iran war. The London-based multinational said its profits surged by over 130% to £2.4 billion between January and March. Campaigners are...
Good.
I just want to say it's crazy that...
Good.
2.3 billion is 130%. 3.2 billion is 230%. So that they had more than doubled it. And then they're like, double it again.
That's sick. But that's what you just brought up. The private firms benefit from higher costs. The question that's been on my brain for so long in the current economy we sit in is, yes, the stocks are going up because the value of the companies is supposedly going up. A lot of that has to do with stock buybacks. A lot of that has to do with AI investment. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that IRAs, retirement accounts, and these algorithmic trading systems are just consistently moving velocity. They're consistently trading, consistently moving money around, but all of it's in the top 10%'s hands. The top 10% income earners in America have ownership over 90% of all the stocks. So again, it's not a direct reflection of the economy. Oh, while these big companies are raking in money off the cost of living crisis we're already living through. So their profits are coming from further middle-class displacement. The profits of these giant companies, like an oil company, a necessity. We're not talking about the local luxury pet care company or the local cake pop shop in your local downtown. We're talking about necessities, needs. And when the needs for these items are going up in cost, you're having to pay them, they're reaping the profits, and your bottom line shrinks. So how long can that continue? How long can we keep just rotating fake monopoly money into a stock market that is perched on an AI bubble, seemingly, in an economy that's just completely thriving off of the middle class just surviving? How long will this survival last? How long until there's not enough loans being paid on? How long until there's not enough consumer spend to keep these companies growing and thriving? How long until we get more like quarterly reports from companies that are like, actually, we had a bad quarter and it's not looking great? How long until that happens? I feel like we're right there. I feel like we're in that moment. I feel like we're standing on the ground and the ground is moving under us. I feel a lot of people feel that way, that the economy just feels topsy-turvy. We're in this K-shaped economy. We've talked about it many times, and I'm going to bring up my 3 predictions at the end, what I think is going to happen over the next 6 months. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's great. But I think it's worthwhile to know before it happens. Because if we look at the patterns, like what we're about to go through with Iran, we can kind of get a little inkling of what's going to happen next if we look at the pattern. So let's get into this Iran war thing. You heard about this war in Iran?
Yes.
I didn't really set you up there for a good
Yes,
banter.
yes, I've heard.
I didn't set him up well. That was poor. B effort on me. C effort.
I hear it's not just in Iran though. I hear it's kind of spread.
Hey, don't be antiseptic over there. He's in the antiseptic corner.
City water guy.
This is a very septic area out here in the studio. According to Fox News, Trump declared Iran hostilities terminated in a letter to Congress ahead of war powers deadline. A 60-day war powers resolution deadline fell Friday, requiring President Donald Trump to either seek congressional authorization or wind down military operation in Iran. Says President Trump has reportedly informed Congress that hostilities with Iran have terminated as he has reached his 60-day deadline. The president said he is not satisfied following reports that Iran delivered its latest negotiations plan to Pakistan regarding an end to the war with the U.S., and it says right there, gas prices jumped more than 90 cents in a day to $4.39 nationally, according to AAA. Trump said prices could come tumbling down. We've seen that a few times. And the U.S. Central Command said that 45 commercial vessels have been directed to turn around or return to port to ensure compliance with the ongoing ceasefire. Now let's read through the lines a little bit here. When the war began, the excursion or whatever it's being called, the adventure into Iran, whatever word we want to define it with, Operation Epstein Fury happened February 28th, the closing of the Strait. We all know, we've heard about this enough times, okay? At first it was, we're gonna destabilize their leadership. All right, that didn't really happen. And then it was, there's going to be a social revolt that pops up. The Iranians are tired of this. They just got murdered in the streets. They're going to take over their own government. That didn't happen. Then it was, we need to get rid of the nukes. The same nukes that we absolutely demolished back in June. You remember that, right? The ones that we destroyed back in June with like Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer, we destroyed it all. So now that's the goal. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that. And then it was things like, we've destabilized our military. Well, tell me, why is the Strait still closed? Why aren't we just going in and militarily taking back the Strait if their military is completely destabilized? Is there a threat? Do we think maybe we wouldn't be able to pull it off? Do we think maybe we'd lose troops? Because that would signal that they have a military that's flowing. That would signal they still have ways of attacking us. So that can't be true. So we're at a standstill. And at the moment, the standstill looks like this. There's points that Iran wants in order to open up the Strait. Some of those include unfreezing their assets. So we've frozen for them to the tunes of multiple billions for the last decade. They also want a toll booth scenario, the little Iranian easy pass through the Strait of Hormuz, so they can start building up money to basically get some reparations for all the damage caused to their country. And they don't want to give up their uranium. They don't want to do it. And those are three big points that we're just kind of not on the same page with. So how we come to a resolution just around those 3 points alone, I don't know. Which just makes me feel this is not close to over. And I'm going to get to this once again here at the end with my predictions of what's going to move forward in this war. But we're going to hear more about what others think about this war. This is former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. By the way, why is it some females in Congress call themselves congressmen and others revert to congresswoman? Because I thought like a congressman was like it's not man, it's a congressman.
It's like policeman.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't say a policewoman, you say a policeman or a police officer.
Which one don't you like?
I'm fine with either. I just want to know what's the proper terminology. I don't know what the proper terminology is. Like when we went and interviewed Sarah McBride, the people that were referencing her as congressman. I was like, I thought it was congresswoman. So I don't know. I don't know what the proper one is.
Just whatever people want to be,
Whatever people want to be.
Yeah.
In this tweet, posted May 1st, 5:09 p.m. Eastern, it says Trump sent a letter to Congress saying the war in Iran is terminated, quote unquote, because today marks 60 days, and in order for the president, to have the authority to continue, the Constitution requires a vote from Congress. but the war is not really terminated. Trump is just restarting the clock to avoid a vote from Congress that may limit his power to wage a war on Iran. And the war is absolutely not over, just because there has been a ceasefire. Also, Trump is about to start military actions again very soon. It never ended. This is unconstitutional, and the Congress should reclaim its constitutional authority. I think she's spot on. I think that this is just a play so that we can have another week or two break and get right back into it. If you're unaware, we have to go through Congress if we're going to launch a war effort. If we're actually going to launch a war, Congress has to approve it, which is why this hasn't been technically defined by the executive branch as a war. It's just an excursion. It's a military mission. It's just an operation. It's just a quick operation. We're in and we're out. Remember, this is only going to be a 3 to 4 week war, and then it's going to be done. Remember that? Remember that? First week of March, second week of March. It's only going to be 3 to 4 weeks. Done. 2 to 4 weeks, I think, was the first one we heard. And now we sit at 2 months. 2 months, and now the clock is reset because that excursion can only last 60 days before we have to make a decision as to whether or not this is a full-blown war, get congressional approval, and move forward. He wouldn't receive that congressional approval, seemingly. So, instead, he's saying, terminated. My bet, we're going to come out with either Operation 2.0, a whole new named operation, or maybe we'll just keep the same name and go back in. But this isn't done. This is just a play. This is reading in between the lines so they can say, oh, wait. That excursion was 60 days. This is a new excursion. They can last a whole other 60 days. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks is going to happen. And there's no reason I don't see another logical opposing point because the strait's still shut. Something has to be done, right?
Well, maybe, but so as a former sales guy, I think a lot of the times I think like how things have been framed. So if we go back and take a look at like urea dipping kind of overnight, and we think a lot about the price of stuff on the public market, it depends on just like public sentiment or trust. So a lot of times in sales, like you're able to use things to boost your sales. So when we look at urea, for example, they're like, oh, they're blocking the strait. We don't know when it's going to shut down, blah, blah, blah. We got to raise the prices. But then as soon as it shuts down, it's like, oh, we're back to where we were. I think the same thing in the video that we watched about BP. The video says that in the first month, in March, they went up by 130%. And then they ended up pushing it to 3.2 billion. So part of me is like, oh, they know Trump only has 60 days. They know the White House only has 60 days to cause this turmoil. Makes you think how maybe there's people going, we really need to take advantage because in 60 days, we're going to have to back to competitive pricing and normal market. So this is our opportunity to make money this year. How much of that could potentially be playing into decision-making around these costs when we're at this pivotal 60-day mark where maybe some executives are thinking like, oh, yeah, he pumped up, spent all this money on defense and got money into AI and signed all these new contracts for the military with AI under this. Maybe he's accomplished his goals and maybe he really doesn't care. Maybe it is terminated because he got his economic goals out of the way. What do you think about that?
It leaves me, well, and to say that there isn't some form of insider knowledge going into trades and oil shorts and things like that, that's a foregone, that conversation's done.
And even if
you've seen it multiple times, that alone, I don't know enough about the pricing of, say, like a fertilizer like urea to know how much of the pricing is determined by the company or the corporation that's either manufacturing, exporting it, importing it. I don't know how much of the pricing is determined by just the simple supply and demand versus what they could just say, hey, this is what the price is now. We need to save face. We're not getting sales. I'm not 100% sure. I would think that has a lot more to do with just the overarching supply and demand, which would say in my brain that really hasn't changed because the strait's still closed. But the pricing is saying a different story. So I don't know.
Yeah, but you're nailing it too, because if BP's saying, oh, we have to charge more because we don't have as much, but then you see...
Well, BP's oil.
But the crude oil went up tremendously because of the war effort. And but then it shows during that span, that 60 days, they just made more money. So when you talk about the supply and demand, it seems it relatively was unchanged. They just raised the price. They took all the money, right?
Right.
There seems to be a correlation there.
Well, when we're talking about housing, oil, healthcare, all of the items that have gone up in cost, we're talking about basic necessities. This is where the big debate that comes up with like boomers talking about like, oh my God, well, you're still going out and getting coffee. Why do you got a big TV? Why are you paying for this subscription? It's because a lot of the items that are luxuries honestly have gone down in cost relative to those years in the 70s and 80s, especially where the cost of necessity has skyrocketed. We were just looking at, and we'll show this later, the Trump Tracker Index. In fact, just bring up that tab real quick. This is trumptracker.org. This is a website that we helped build with the Integrity Index, Nico and Daniel, on the economy. Let's scroll down a little bit because you'll see a lot of red, but you'll see some green pop up when we get to airfare. Let's keep going down. There we go. Airfare, down in cost. Over the last few years, that's actually gotten cheaper. Hotels, cheaper. Pet care, cheaper. A lot of the extras in the American life, cheaper. A lot of the necessities, though, much more expensive, which is almost like how BlackRock, let me just compare here real quick. BlackRock, since 2023, shifted its model slightly. They make a big announcement about it, but they shifted their model. Follow me on this. So BlackRock is known for its ownership of stocks, its ownership of, like through Blackstone, housing, its ownership of other companies through things called leveraged buyouts. We've all heard the stories about Hooters and Toys R Us and AC Moore and Subway and now Jersey Mike's and all these companies being bought up by private equity. But in 2023, BlackRock kind of shifted its tune from residential, kind of working class facing companies to where now, whether by and this might be just simply to the fact that they already owned as much as they could and now they needed the shift. But if I'm to speculate, what started to happen is they've started to shift into infrastructure. They're buying up data centers. They're buying up trusts. They're creating real estate trusts in India. They're buying up wind farms. They're buying up, like I said, energy plants and data centers in Australia, not just America. They have companies they're investing in China. They bought a canal port. They're funding the Dallas Stock Exchange. They're investing in some of the items that are necessities. They're getting into the infrastructure of our lives, knowing that we have to pay an electric bill. We have to pay a water bill. You have to have a way to get to work. And so instead of investing simply in the additives or the additional, the benefits, the extras in this economy, they're focusing on the infrastructure. And this is where companies like a BP, oil, that's a necessity. It's not something that you're going to get to have a decision on. You could decide to drive less, but if your job is the same amount of miles away and you work the same amount of days a week, there's only so much you can do. If your school for your kid is still the same distance away and they got to go 5 days a week, that commute is still going to be the same. So there's certain necessities that have to be met in your everyday life that they want to profit off of. What do we got here?
Yeah, I was just looking up their most recent purchases, and it looks like they're currently closing a massive deal to take public utility companies private, and public versus private usually means they have to make a profit.
Yes.
They don't.
Yes.
So.
Public to private. Privatization is what's going on worldwide. Transnational capital focused on privatization of industrial assets. Infrastructural assets. It says right here in our Google AI overview, thank you, AI, a Black-Red-led consortium, including global infrastructure partners, has agreed to acquire power company AES Corporation for $10.7 billion, $33.4 billion, including debt, to expand its energy infrastructure portfolio. The data aims at clean energy growth to support rising AI data center power needs. The deal is expected to close in late 2026, early 2027. They're buying infrastructure. Why? Because of the same question I brought up earlier. How much longer can consumer spend of the working class support the economy? I think these big oligarchs kind of see that writing on the wall. They're like, how do we get in on the assets they cannot negotiate on? How do we get on the stuff they have to have for their day-to-day life?
Yeah, real quick, big shout out to Gemini sourcing more perfect union.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, we love more perfect union.
Speaking of companies that are public and not private, I mean, they're a private nonprofit, but they're not trying to turn money. It's literally they made a nonprofit for news so that it wasn't affected by like the need to make money.
Yeah.
So we love More Perfect Union. Check them out.
Big shout out to make More Perfect Union. Them, Drop Site News. We partner with them often. So let's get into our next tab. We got to move through this. We're already running behind. This is probably going to be like a good hour 30 pod. Let's listen, though, to a... So this was a video originally, we redid the studio, just obviously. Kind of put us behind a week. I had this video planned for Wednesday. We shoot this Saturday. What is it, May 2nd? May 1st? May 2nd? May 2. Originally, I had this... Let's just play the video real quick.
Fox News alert, it's decision time. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper has just briefed the president in the Situation Room about what could be the final blow. The U.S. military is preparing for a short and powerful wave of strikes. Targets include the enemy's remaining military assets, leadership, and infrastructure.
So what does that mean necessarily? Well, how have we gone from we're planning the last strike to terminated? In 48 hours. 48 hours, you're trying to tell me we've gone from the strait is closed, we've blockaded the blockade, we're trying to economically basically smoke them out and get them to the point where they open their side and we'll then open our side. They open their blockade first and then we'll open ours. We're trying to economically smoke them out. Nothing has progressed there. We're planning apparently a whole meeting happened with the warmongers needed in that meeting, I'm sure. Lindsey Graham, big friend. Sure he was there. Pete Hegseth, sure he was there. Hit the bar after with Cash. I don't know what to believe about the Cash Patel situation. My dude's all over the place. You believe he's a drunk? You think so? What do you think?
I don't know anything about him.
I don't know. If anything came out about him, I wouldn't be surprised, but I also don't want to believe stuff about people that could just be slander. But he didn't release the list after saying he was so effing.
I mean, I think there's like empirical data that shows people who work in law enforcement, especially for long periods of time, often have substance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, odds are is all I'm going to say.
And listen, if I was to put out one like hot takey type legislation out there, we need to allow our law enforcement and first responders to smoke weed. We need to allow them to relax if that's the way they choose to do so, because I would much rather an officer that smokes a blunt the night before his shift, not during or before his shift, just to be very, very clear, than going out and binging some beers. I think just health-wise, mentally, all things considered, that's probably a better bet. Let our law enforcement officers light it up once or twice. I believe that completely. Law enforcement has to go through so much. So much. Not Cash Patel. He's not seeing shit. He's going to the ice hockey games for our country. He's not seeing shit. But yeah, that's a great point. So let's get into our next tab. Let's keep rocking through this. So this is the Strait of Hormuz, live as we speak. This is Saturday, May 2nd. There's a couple Iranian, couple Liberian ships that are in the strait, but other than that, nothing. Nothing's going through. Nothing's passing by. I think there's been a total of about 9 ships that have even gotten through, and they've pretty much all been Iranian or Liberian. I don't really know Liberia's attachment to this. I'm not a geopolitics guy, but we have been tracking these 2 ships that didn't really get a lot of headlines. Last week, amongst all the headlines you might have missed, was this one, that Iran claims they seized 2 MSC-operated box ships while transitioning the Strait of Hormuz. The names of the ships, does it say it here on here? It's like the Empanadas. Where is it down there? Operated by the world. Yeah, right there. IRGC announced that the MSC-owned MSC Francesca and a post-Panama ship under time charter of the company seized directly by the Iranian coast while transitioning the Strait of Hormuz early hours. It seized, oh, there's the second one. MSC Francesca, red, and Empanadas, yellow. Below is a map of the Gulf. You can see they made it almost to the Gulf of Oman through the Strait of Hormuz. And then apparently were taken by the Iranian IRGC. I didn't see any American headlines on this. I didn't see any real talk about this. So just to keep track, if we go back into our maritime tracker, we found those 2 boats. Scroll out just a little ever so slightly. They're sitting up in a very dangerous zone because you're getting very close to the coast. It's just kind of sitting there. This is the past track of the past 72 hours. You see it made a cute little moon pattern. Just floating, maybe fishing, maybe getting a tan. I don't know what those people are doing at this moment. But the MSC Francesca and the Empanadas, as we see the second boat right here, are still stationary. Not moving, just chilling. Oh, we can't even get the pass track on that one? Oh. Satellite positioning was lost on that one.
It led us to it a couple minutes ago.
Interesting.
Whoa, we lost everything.
Oh, where's all our boats? Where's all our boats?
Whoa, give me my boat back, brother.
So what's going on with these 2 boats? I don't know. But again, it goes back to just the patterns of it all.
It says we lost our access.
We lost our access?
That's what it says. We got banned.
What do you mean we lost access? This isn't even live.
We got banned from boat map.
We got banned from a boat map? How do you get banned from a boat map? The patterns show that Iran's not done. They're taking ships. We're not addressing them in a military offensive against opening up the strait. Like, we're not actively trying to open up the strait through military efforts. Why? I would think it's because we don't think we would be able to successfully do it. If not, maybe we could successfully do it, but by losing some ships and losing some troops, we don't want to do that. So again, my brain gets to the standstill of what could happen next. We're being told terminated. We're being told we've won 18 times. I think it's more. We've been told many times it's about to be done. 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 And nothing's really progressed. All of the S&P 500 flies. So color me confused. Let's get to what Trump has to say about it.
I'm dealing with some quite brutal people right now in the lovely country of Iran. They are very brutal, and I will tell you, we're doing very well. You cannot give Iran a nuclear weapon.
We destroyed their nuclear capabilities in June.
Allegedly.
Also, do you know the only country on the planet that has nuclear weapons, that has utilized those nuclear weapons on civilians? America. We're the only ones. We're the only ones. Also, why do we not care about that other country and their nuclear capabilities? The other country. You know the other country I'm talking about. The JFK country. Why aren't we worried about that? Why don't we go to war with China and Russia? Oh, no, that's crazy. They have nuclear weapons. I don't get the debate here. If they have nuclear capabilities, why were they not destroyed in June? If they still have nuclear capabilities, we were lied to back in June. And if they had those nuclear capabilities and they thought that they were the dog in the corner that's got nothing left to lose, why haven't they used it? I don't see, not to say I don't believe, I'm not an Iranian apologist at all. I believe the leadership is atrocious, but I don't believe our leadership is too far behind. That was loud. But the rotating headline or go-to excuse for why this continues to go on is, well, do you want to get bombed by Iran? Let me just tell you right now, I don't give a shit about Iran. Nobody before this war even got conceived cared about Iran. For the past few years, though, there's been another Middle Eastern country that starts with I that the middle class has become increasingly concerned over. Oh, and by the way, it just so happens that we may have started this war because of that country. And yet no one wants to just say it up front. No one just wants to come out in the executive branch and just say, yes, we are here because another country was going to get hurt, so we stepped in to help them. Because we're endowed to them via blackmail. Why don't you say that? Just say, I've been blackmailed. I have to do this. You're going to pay higher gas prices. I know that sucks, and it's against everything I campaigned for. I know affordability is getting worse, and that's everything I campaigned against. I know that all of the things you voted for me on, like being a peace president, is just being pushed to the side, and it's all because I'm blackmailed to do this, to support a whole other country that doesn't have nukes, by the way, no nuclear facility located, and we're going to fight the enemy of our friend. That's what I think is happening. I don't think Iran is an enemy of the American people. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Oh, Zach, they're bombing our military bases in and around the Middle East. Let me raise you another question. Why do we have so many bases in the Middle East in the first place? Why are we looking at a $1.5 trillion military budget to continue to have, how many bases do we have worldwide? It's like 150 plus. How many bases do we have? We have so many. And one of the peace point agreements, by the way, from Iran, from the original one that came out in mid-April, stated they want us out of the Middle East. Do you think we're just going to do that? Oh my God, I was way off. The U.S. military operates an estimated 750 to 800 plus overseas military bases on site, roughly 80 foreign countries and territories. These bases are located on every continent except Antarctica, with the highest concentration in Japan, Germany, South Korea. The footprint represents only 90 to 95% of all foreign military bases. Could you imagine if another country opened up a base in America?
Didn't we just negotiate that?
So we didn't. So that Pete Hegseth jacked that up.
Oh,
so that was over the summer where they talked about the fact that they were going to have fighter jet training for, I think, Saudi Arabia.
I thought it was Qatar.
Was it Qatar?
That was the jet deal.
It was Qatar. So, but it's not a Qatarian base. I believe it was out in Colorado. This was a bit ago. There's so many headlines since then. But that had been going on for a long time. We've been doing cross training with other countries, our allies, for quite a while. But could you imagine if, like, somewhere in South Carolina, Germany just opened up a base? That wouldn't happen. It can't happen. Why do we get the ability to do that? I'm all American. I served. I went overseas. I've seen the bases. I've worked out of the bases. I've seen the bases the Afghanis worked out of. I've seen this stuff. And I'm no subject matter expert. But it seems like the conflict in the Middle East isn't really our problem. It seems like we made it our problem by making them shut the strait, and now economically it is our problem. We turned something that was not our problem and was one of our quote-unquote allies' problems and turned it into your problem. That's what I'm seeing here. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know what you're seeing. I might be crazy. Let's go into our next tab. I hear Joe typing away at something. I can't wait to see it. So, this is Al Jazeera. Can be a little flippy-floppy on what you should believe, what you shouldn't on this site. But there's been one specific, it's a terribly formatted website. I don't know what the heck's going on here. We've refreshed multiple times. It just looks like this. Al Jazeera fixture formatting. We have a live update feed, which I have been kind of staying in tune with. And if I see something of note, I try to backsource it and make sure it's legit. Let's hit refresh. Click see more updates right there. Seems like there's more that's come in. All right, let's keep going down. Let's keep going down. Let's keep going down. There we go. It says this is 34 minutes ago. Scroll up a little bit. It says the Lebanon death toll in 2 months of Israeli attacks has reached 2,659 people with 8,183 wounded. It added 41 people were killed and 11 others wounded in Israeli raids just over the past 24 hours. And if we scroll down, we'll see that, it's all good. We'll get back. If we scroll down, Keep on going, keep on going. It says right here, and this is 45 minutes ago as of Saturday morning, May 2nd, it says Israel kills 7 people in Gaza over the past 24 hours. It says despite an October ceasefire, Israel continues to attack people in the Gaza Strip daily. Over the past 24 hours alone, hospitals across Gaza received 7 people killed by the military, according to Palestinian news agencies. The overall death toll since the outbreak of the war on October 7th, 2023, has reached 72,608, sourced by them. I don't know how accurate. In the period since the ceasefire was announced back in October 2025, though, 828 people have been killed, health officials say. The figures do not take into account thousands of victims who remain buried under the rubble. Emergency responders have struggled to reach bodies because of the lack of essential equipment. And this has everything to do with what's going on in Iran, by the way. Because Iran, so long as Israel is attacking Lebanon or threatening Turkey, Syria, any front of their 7-front war, whichever one they want to pick, Iran wants nothing to do with that. Specifically Lebanon, Iran wants nothing to do with that. And Israel's ignored the ceasefire agreement. They've completely ignored it. They've said, Bibi Netanyahu's come out and said, by the way, shout out his prostate, he has said that they're just going to go about doing it anyway, regardless of what we're doing in our ceasefire. They said they're just going to go about and do it anyway. That our ceasefire with Iran has nothing to do with their efforts on Lebanon, Turkey, or any other of their 7 fronts, including the 8th front of their war, which Bibi Netanyahu has said is TikTok. Because the public sentiment seems to be shifting, and you have to support Israel.
Dude, one thing I want to say, too, that somebody explained recently is, like, why deliberately and slowly a lot of these attacks happen over time. Because so, like...
You say tax or attacks?
The attacks.
Attacks, got it.
The death toll in Lebanon is 2659. Do you know the death toll from 9/11?
Oh, it's like right around the same, yeah.
2,900.
Oh, my God.
So they've literally almost done
and I would
what we did. Like, think about our response.
Oh, that's a terrible way of putting it.
After 9/11, and Lebanon has just had that in 2 months from Israel.
And per capita,
it's way more people per capita.
Way more. If we look at Beirut versus New York City, per capita, that number is significantly higher.
I saw a reel last week, and so
Whoa.
The same number, the 72,000 that have died since October, that's 25 9/11s. And again, per capita.
Per capita might be
way
100.
more people.
Holy cow. Yeah, when you put it that way, because 9/11 shut down our country for years.
And
the media
did
was
20 years of crazy military spending following it.
The media was locked in. The military was locked in. I mean, 9/11 was our calling card for everything. Wow. Yeah, when you put it that way, it makes me sad.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. It makes me sad.
It humanizes some of the, I guess, more intense rhetoric you hear about defense and stuff like that. But like a lot of these countries are just like, yeah, sorry, we'll do whatever. Like Lebanon, I don't know if Lebanon was really starting beef. You know what I mean? And they've just been 9/11 in the past 2 months in the name of land.
It was
allies.
It was the largest one-day attack since October 3rd or October 7th, and it was in 10 minutes. Thousands of deaths in 10 minutes. Thousands dead in 10 minutes. It is almost 9/11ish. Just the way of lives and families were destroyed in moments because of some billionaires' efforts toward geopolitical control. They want more land. You deserve to die. It's just a crazy.
I'll end this point, but Lebanon has about 5.9 million people compared to the U.S.'s approximate
350.
It was 280 probably in 2001, somewhere in there.
What's the population in New York City?
Mute myself.
8.3.
More.
Way more. More than doubled. Okay. So, time to put on your tinfoil hat, everybody. I'm going to need you to strap that thing on because we got a 4-minute clip that I watched and then I showed it to my wife. And then I showed it to 2 other people. I'm like, talk me out of this. I don't want to believe this is true. But if you're unaware, Tehran, the capital city of Iran, has been considering moving its capital city for a while due to many factors, but one of which was one of the leading ones was the fact that they were running out of water. One of their main lakes was running dry, ravines dry. They were not receiving rainfall. And it's a desert. It's Middle East. Like, that makes sense. Like, no one's going to look at that twice and think that's crazy. I don't want to say it. Just turn on this video.
He who controls the weather controls the world. For decades, conspiracy theorists have claimed that the U.S. government and others around the world were attempting to control the weather as a form of warfare. Well, tonight, that conspiracy is a fact. We're going to show you the documents that prove it. But even more shocking, the war in Iran may have proved that it isn't just a thing of the past. It's happening right now. In fact, Iran is an incredible example. Videos have poured into the newsroom showing heavy rainfall over areas across Iran. And this has been going on now for weeks. In some places, water is rushing through the streets. In other regions, they are experiencing not only massive rainfall, but even snowfall. These are places that for over a decade were dealing with a severe drought. In fact, that drought so severe for the last few years that it was thought that it could cause the Iranian regime to collapse. The situation was desperate. But now, parts of Iran are seeing more rain than they have seen in over 60 years. So what changed? Honestly, a war with the United States. A war in which Iran targeted and destroyed radar systems across the region, including systems that are now believed to be connected to weather modification operations. See, before anyone jumps to any conclusions here, calm down. Let's slow it down. Let's walk through what we actually know, because there's fact, there's history, and then there's speculation. Let's talk about the facts. Iran has been in a drought for years, as I mentioned, a really bad one. In recent years, water shortages have hit agriculture, cities, and daily life. Right? This is not debatable. Iran,
again,
like many
before
countries
we
in the
move
region,
forward, now we're paused. Before we move forward, I get it. Okay, we're talking about wartime weather control. We have reached peak tinfoil. We are one step away from lizard people. We are a half a step from lizard people. This sounds crazy. But I need you to keep your ears open, okay? I need you to keep your ears open, because there's a few underlying pins that could turn this from conspiracy theory to, oh, actually, I kind of understand how this could be true, because there's a little timeline of events. He's going to go through it. Just don't check out on me here, because we're talking about Iranian weather control. This sounds nuts.
Was desperate. But now, parts of Iran are seeing more rain than they have seen in over 60 years. So what changed? Honestly, a war with the United States. A war in which Iran targeted and destroyed radar systems across. Iran has been in a drought for years, as I mentioned, a really bad one. In recent years, water shortages have hit agriculture, cities, and daily life. Right? This is not debatable. Iran, like many countries in the region, has been actively trying to solve the problem. So how do you do that? Well, here's where people get confused. Cloud seeding, right? It's not a conspiracy. It's very real and documented. The practice has been used for decades. In fact, countries like the United Arab Emirates have invested heavily in cloud seeding because they don't have natural water resources. They rely on desalination and supplement it by seeding clouds to increase rainfall. It's not just the UAE, by the way. Saudi Arabia, they do the same thing. You can see footage right now of rainfall there. Entire villages, in fact, have even been wiped out. So the idea that humans can influence weather, that part's not up for debate, right? That's old news at this point. The real question is how much and to what effect, and even to the point of it being used as a weapon of war. So let's add another layer to all of this, staying with the facts. Back in 2012, former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad made a claim. At the time, it was laughed off. He said that Western countries were finding ways to block rain clouds from reaching Iran.
And he said this at the United Nations, by the way. He didn't just say this randomly amongst his buddies.
Quick date check on this article.
Yeah.
He could have picked a better day.
September 11th, 2012.
Yeah.
Damn.
Manipulating weather patterns. It was as if the U.S. had found a way to sanction rainfall. Again, this is 14 years ago. Media laughed it off. It was a conspiracy theory. He's crazy. After all, nobody can control the weather, right? So now, put it all together. Iran was in a multi-decades drought. Then the war breaks out. Reports claim that systems connected to weather tracking and weather monitoring and weather control, or even cloud seeding operations, were obliterated. In fact, every U.S. base around Iran was obliterated. And now, suddenly, record-setting rainfall and even snowfall. Maybe it's all just a coincidence, right? Maybe so. But take a look at this. Turns out the United States has a long history
This is from October
using
1965.
weather as a weapon against geopolitical opponents. This goes all the way back to 1965. The CIA conducted cloud seeding operations to extend the monsoon season in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. The operation disrupted agriculture and destroyed northern Vietnamese supply lines during the Vietnam War. As President Lyndon Johnson once said, we said it at the beginning, he who controls the weather controls the world. 1965 all the way to 2026. As of today, right now, 30 U.S. states have passed or proposed bans on weather modification. Funny, huh? That means there is no doubt the technology exists, because if it didn't, it couldn't be banned. So, has a weather war been waged on Iran over the past several decades? A war to create drought conditions, destroy agriculture, potentially bring the nation to its knees. And if it was, Iran may have just broken free in a very unexpected way.
I don't even want to believe that, personally. I hear that, and I'm like, that's outside of my realm of comfort. Because, well, let's start from the beginning. 1965 was 61 years ago. We were modifying weather in Vietnam. If I told my grandpa that, he would have thought that I'd lost my mind. We have documentation of it. And then the timing is just so weird. Everything is just weird. Why do they have record rainfall? Why is their lake replenishing like weeks within us having these bases destroyed? Joe, bring me back to earth. What do you think, brother? Bring me back to earth, because this one throws me.
It's a causation versus correlation, but when the maths.
Yeah, you could definitely move the math in the direction of we had some form of weather control that was halted and all of a sudden the weather patterns returned back to normal. But again, causation, correlation, maybe it's just a giant coincidence. Could just be a giant coincidence. I don't know. I don't know. Here's, though, an article from 2025 proving Iran has indeed begun cloud seeding to induce rain. So this is not some cockamamie conspiracy. Cloud seeding. Cloud seeding is 100% real. Cloud seeding is 100% real. We utilize it here in America to create more rainfall so that we can have better crop seasons. Why we're going through a drought, though, kind of goes against that. But this isn't sci-fi. Okay, this isn't sci-fi. It sounds like sci-fi, but it's not. What could be sci-fi, though, is whether or not we're utilizing it as a war weapon. That's what we don't know. Causation versus correlation. You could connect some dots on the corkboard. You could connect some dots on the corkboard, but we don't know. Let's get back into reality. Let's go to our next one. That one just throws me. So, just so we're on the same page, what we're doing right now in Iran is the side mission. It's the side dish from what had already been talked about. We're going into Cuba. Do you remember Venezuela? Do you remember Greenland? None of this is off the table. This is all still ongoing. We are in a full, Northern Hemisphere takeover scenario where we're trying to create the whole Western world controlled by America. Now, the question is, who controls America? But this isn't going away. And here's Trump yesterday confirming what we've said on this podcast for months now, that Cuba and Greenland and all that, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. It's not gone. And here's Trump yesterday talking about just that.
Good job. An architect who's really talented. He's done a lot of work for him. He's got a flair, a beautiful Hispanic flair in particular. And he comes from originally a place called Cuba, which we will be taking over almost immediately. No, Cuba's got problems. We'll finish one first. I like to finish a job. On the way back from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, "Thank you very much, we give up." Good job.
I just got to say real quick, that video was to a T exactly what I was talking about before the pod. That the only voices I hear from Trump are horny or angry. That was the horniest description of government operation I've heard. I like to finish one job. They got problems. Why is he so horny all the time, bro?
You think that's horny? You think he's turned on by talking about taking over Cuba?
Dude, he's trying to seduce the crowd. Come on. Look,
An architect. On the way back from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in.
The biggest in the world. Come on, dude. He's bragging about the size of his
You might be
ships,
stretching.
dude.
You might be stretching, bro. You might be stretching. I'll let
right.
people take their own.
All right.
I'll let people take their own opinion on that. I don't know.
He just talks wild, bro.
He
No
does
one
talk
talks
wild,
like
but I
that.
think that is the brain illness, less so than the other head talking. I don't know. Could be the other head talking. I'm not sure. I don't know nothing. So we've updated on the economy. We're talking about the war, and the war isn't done because there's more land to take. Cuba, Greenland. We already knocked out Venezuela. Who else is on the list, by the way? Who else is on the list? We joked about Canada as a 51st state. Doesn't seem like we're doing that. It seemed like it was more just a joke. Why are we the only country that gets to just take over countries? It just seems so like Roman Empire. It doesn't seem like something you do in modern day that doesn't reap some form of punishment on the other end. What do I know? What was the date on this? This was yesterday. Or no,
This one's back from January,
this is the
just talking about how
Greenland
we're still
one.
focused on Greenland.
Oh, we have the affordability stuff coming up though, right? Is that next
Yeah.
time? Okay. So let's go back. So this is January. Oh no, go. Let's go back to that tweet you just had up. I want to read that. This is January. It says in the caption, the United States needs Greenland for the purpose of national security. It is vital for the golden dome that we are building. NATO should be leading the way for us to get it. That's not working out. If we don't, Russia or China will, and that is not going to happen. Militarily, without the vast power of the United States, much of which is I built during my first term, and am now bringing to a new and even higher level, NATO would not be an effective force or deterrent, not even close. Wow, that was a long sentence. They know that, and so do I. NATO became far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. Anything less than that is unacceptable. Anything less than that is unacceptable. Greenland in the hands of the United States. It's not over. We're not done with that. We did a whole podcast episode. I wish I could say which number it is. You can just look into our show and probably search Greenland. You'll find it. We talked about the purposes behind Greenland. We talked about why we're going after it and the money that's tied to it. We followed all the money, the Ron Lauders, the Tech Bros, the PayPal Mafia. It's all there. It's all there. That's not going away. So I don't want you to think that with what's going on right now that we've put those items to the side. They're still very much being worked on. And the fact that we're still looking at taking on Cuba, we've already taken Venezuela. I don't know what's going on there. Apparently it's ours. Haven't really heard anything. And now we're looking at, again, Greenland coming back into the headlines, which it will. Which it will, by the way. Look for that over the summer. Greenland will come back to the headlines. It's not done. Because Greenland, when Trump was initially brought into office, was a huge topic for conversation for about 3 months. About like December to February. Then it chilled. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, November 2025, back into it. December, we need Greenland. Only to be sidestepped by this war in Iran. It's not done. It's coming back. Let's finish with affordability. I want to update you on what's going on in the world of affordability. And according to Mr. Donald J. Trump and others, affordability is a line of bullshit.
Prices. You know, use the word affordability, but I was the one that received these high prices.
This is low.
It's amazing. I come into office and I say, wow, look at how high these prices are. And the Democrats start screaming, affordability, affordability. They're the ones that caused the problem. I'll tell you one thing. They got one good line of bullshit. That's one thing I'll say about it. They are so bad. Lower prices.
So I'll give Trump a point on this one. I'll give him a slight point on this one. The affordability problem did not start when he was in office, for sure. No doubt about that. But the affordability has been a problem for longer than even the term before that. The money printing, the checks that went out, I believe it was the CARES Act, and others that were made available for more money to be printed, did happen under Trump's administration. Just so we're clear. A lot of the inflationary effects that happened over the next few years did start with the money printing that happened from the reaction from COVID when Trump was still indeed in office. So I don't want to hear, oh, Biden caused it. Biden could have stopped it. Biden could have helped it. Biden could have improved it. Did he? No. And his White House press secretary did the same exact thing the whole time. Affordability is going to get better. Affordability is going to get better. Gas prices are going to come down. Food prices are going to come down. Grocery costs, none of it happened. None of it happened. We're getting the same bill now. And the problem I have with it is he can sit and blame the last party all he'd like, but he campaigned on, I'm going to fix affordability on day one. He said multiple times, I've killed inflation. It's at 3.5% again. He said multiple times he's going to make America affordable again. Has that happened? If he campaigned on affordability has been deteriorated in this country, and I'm going to spend the next 4 years fighting that battle to earn affordability back. I'm going to work toward an economy that the working class citizen of this country can be proud of, can survive in, and can thrive in. If he campaigned on that, I have no love lost toward that point. But the fact of the matter is, he made an audacious claim that he was going to make the economy affordable, housing affordable, grocery costs down. But the only thing I hear him talking about is eggs. That's the only thing I hear him talking about is eggs. Let's talk about more than just eggs. I got chickens. I don't care about eggs. I got all the eggs I want, baby. We got 13 chickens.
Casual flex.
Casual flex on them, baby. I get like 3 dozen a week by midsummer. We're flowing. If I ever get doxxed, just come through for some eggs. I got you.
All right, what about people who don't have chickens?
If you don't have chickens, the lower cost of eggs is beneficial.
There is a viral news report for them, though, no?
No? What?
Yeah, our news videos. For people who still have to pay for eggs.
Oh, yeah, because he does mention food. So before we play this, okay, I want you just in your head, we're going to play a little game. Just in your head, I want you to think 1 through 10. And if you're only like 22, 23, it's going to be a tougher game for you. But follow. If you're in your 30s or over, easy game for you. And I have this live on Instagram as well. I'd love to see in this comment section. So comment below. We're thinking your head. Scale of 1 to 10. How affordable was your American lifestyle in 2016? 1 through 10. 1 being absolutely no chance, there's no affordability. 10 being it's the most affordable of all time. 1 being absolutely unaffordable. 10 being super, super affordable. I can get whatever I want twice. Okay, 1 through 10. Think of it. 2016. 2016 is what I'm saying. How did you feel? Joe, how did you feel? What would you put? 2016, 1 through 10. What would you put?
I was doing good in 2016. I had like a 7 maybe.
7?
6, 7.
6, 7.
Dude, I hate. God,
he did it. He did it.
7.
Yeah,
7.
I'm getting 6s, 4s, 5.5. Okay. How do you feel that number is today? If it was a 6, 7, 10 years ago, what would you put the number at today? What would you put the number at today? 10 being extremely affordable, 1 being I'm dying.
I mean, I would give it like a 5 for me, but like a 3 or 4 for most of the people I socialize with right now.
Yeah, because you've been on the come up.
I'm older than a lot of my friends too. Like I'm 36 and a lot of my friends are late 20s, early 30s. So I've just had more time.
And the loft team here in Southern Delaware hooked you up with a stellar home with a low mortgage.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I have a good job.
And no kids.
No kid.
That's
Dude,
super
if I had
beneficial.
a kid, I'd be tighter.
Oh, dude, childcare is nuts.
Well, I'll say my brother's older than me. He's in his 40s. He's got 2 kids. Him and his wife both work full time, and he's tighter than me, and he's working 2 jobs, and I feel bad for him.
So affordability's gotten worse. Again, I'll give Trump the point on it got worse during that time period, somewhat during his first term and also Biden's term. I get that. But when you campaign on destroying it and bringing back that life that maybe we felt at the beginning of your first term, you know, I could have said 2016, 2017, 2018, that kind of range, right? It feels different than it does now. So have you destroyed it? Are you doing what you said you were going to do? And I know, Zach, all politicians do is lie. I love this boomer take, by the way. All politicians do is lie. Why do you care so much? Because I don't like being lied to. How about that? How about I can actually have a little bit of faith or want to have a little bit of faith in those who are put in charge of all of our lifestyles, of all of our economies, of all of our jobs, of everything that you do on a day-to-day basis, the leaders of that. I want to believe they're not pedophile protecting, child sacrificing billionaire elitists. That's what I want to believe. I want to believe that we're not a blackmailed country that is doing the bidding of another country at the detriment of our own economy and lifestyle. That's what I want to believe. And when I see the lies, you know, I'm forced to believe that maybe the latter option may be true. Maybe there's other forces at play that are forcing us into this direction as a country. Maybe. I want to believe we're not being lied to. And for the boomers out there like, the FBI is corrupt. CIA did this back in the 60s. Oh, you know, President Reagan, he did this and third. You've lived through 4 decades of bullshit lies and you're still out here supporting the current administration? You've lived through and have more experience in the lies that come from the intelligence agencies, that come from the executive branches, even local government. You've watched it. And your excuses, oh, well, they always lie. What a bitch take. What a lame mindset to believe that being lied to is just the American way. That politicians just campaign on things and they never deliver. Why is that the case? Why are we okay with that? I understand it to be true. We can agree on that. But your apathy towards it is extremely frustrating because you're the same exact person. Because stay on the boomer. Love you. Love your food. You're a great cook. That same boomer who'll have apathy or not care or be indifferent toward the lies from any administration, pick red or blue or purple. I don't give a shit. Sorry for cussing so much. You're the same one who's going to blame your granddaughter or grandson for not working hard enough or finding a way to get a car for under $200 a month or a mortgage that's less than their childcare cost. Because the mortgage for an everyday boomer right now is somewhere between like $800, $1,200 because they bought it 20 years ago. They bought it 10 years ago. They refied when the rates were low. They're the same exact people that are blaming the younger generations for not financially thriving. And they're the ones that got to experience the benefits of the economy and saw the lies throughout history and are still sitting here apathetically saying, that's how it is. You need to work harder. That's kind of the summary of my frustration with the economy. It's because the upper side of the K has no empathy toward the lower side and think they're just financial savants. As someone on the upper side of the K, by God's blessing, turn around. Look at what's behind right now. Look at the baseline of our economy. Look at the structure of the production that comes out of this country and ask, do they think that this lifestyle is more or less affordable than it was 10 years ago? They don't. I won't find one person, and if they do, they're lying. Nobody feels it's more affordable right now. And there's been no progress toward more affordability. And to hear him say that line is bullshit, or even months ago saying that affordability is a Democrat hoax, is completely demeaning the entire campaign he ran on. We're being lied to at the expense of you just having to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. It is what it is. Prices will come down eventually. Maybe they won't. They just want you to get out to a midterm. This is a clip that I found originally on Twitter. And then I went ahead and found it a few other places. So let's play the first one on Twitter.
More than 70%
I want you to
of
use your listening
Americans
ears here.
say they are struggling to pay for food, housing, and health care, according to a CBS News poll. Saturday morning co-host Kelly O'Grady has some tips to cut her costs.
Okay, played a little bit longer. I was gonna play the last one since they're all the same. 10-4.
Of Americans say they are struggling to pay for food, housing, and health care. That's according to a CBS News poll. Kelly O'Grady shopped with a savings expert, and she has some tips to cut costs.
Okay,
it's getting more expensive to go shopping.
And the next one?
From housing.
First one was Michigan. That one was Ohio. This is Nevada.
In Money Watch, more than 70% of Americans right now say they are struggling to pay for food, housing, and health care. This is according to new CBS News polling. Kelly O'Grady shopped with a savings expert and has some tips to cut costs.
Same clip.
It's getting more expensive to go shopping. From housing and gas to clothes, Americans are feeling the squeeze. Food prices have jumped nearly 20% since 2022, and they could go even higher.
Best part about this is all of the sources say CBS News. CBS News. Who's in charge of CBS News?
And
Who is in
gas to
charge of
close,
CBS News?
Americans are feeling the squeeze.
Would that
Food
be
prices
Ellison?
have jumped nearly 20% since 2022, and they could go even higher. Diesel prices are up over 50% since the start of the
At least they
conflict
moved
with
the
Iran.
graphics around
Remember,
the screen on
diesel
this one.
fuels
It's all
the
the same
trucks
clip.
that
And they use the
transport
same little
food and
AI
household
trucker right
items to
there.
the store.
Let's pause this
There
real
are
quick.
some ways to save on.
Yeah, and CBS News head is Barry Weiss. If you've not heard of her, look her up. Fascinating person in history.
Barry Weiss is a very fascinating person in history. What I found to be even more interesting, other than the fact that this is the same script, same clip across the entire country. I mean, we've probably seen montages already at this point over the past few years of how the same exact script gets fed to all these different local news agencies for your 7:30 news, 6:30 news, whatever it is, before Wheel of Fortune. Big wheel guy, big Jeopardy guy. Shout out Jamie Ding. He had a great run. Can you pull up the article from CBS that we found? It says 70% of Americans say they are struggling financially. CBS News, November 14th, 2019. I find it interesting. There's a regurgitated headline across all the local news networks that fits the same script, same video. And then I find an article that, though it words it slightly differently, it doesn't use the big key words like housing, healthcare, and food. It says many Americans remain in precarious financial shape even as the economy continues to grow, with 7 of 10 saying they're struggling with at least one aspect of financial stability, such as paying bills or saving money. Slightly different, but kind of the same. Does this mean it's getting worse? Why is the number still an exact flat 70%? I don't know. I'm a little weirded out by the coordinated nationwide local news scripting because it makes me feel like there's something larger going on.
It is literally what they taught us propaganda was in middle school.
Right. But it's like, okay, I agree with the standpoint. I agree with okay, let's make sure working class Americans know understandably that they are being jacked economically. But why the scripting? Why is it seemingly the same article that came out 7 years ago? That's odd to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too far into that. But clearly, middle class America is struggling. Let's see another article. Beautiful. So going into the economy more, the car industry is struggling heavily. I have a friend of mine who works down in Lewis, Delaware, works in automotive industry, car sales, owns one dealership. Is it two? It's one. I think the second one's planning to be opened. He is in a relocator boomer market down there in the beaches of Delaware. If you're familiar with Southern Delaware, you'll know it's slowly becoming a retirement hub. So his sales, not drastically affected. A lot of free-flowing money down there. But me and him have been talking for the past year and a half on the number he's seen across the nation for their company, and it's poo-poo. If you just focus on those who are in the working class, those who are financing, let's say, 80% of the vehicle, it is poo-poo. It's been poo-poo for a bit. Experian said to get a used car off the lot, the median payment on that car is $527. Median. The middle. God forbid you need a pickup truck or an SUV. We're talking about a 2014 mortgage to get a car. All while wages have stayed stagnant. To talk about further pressure on the automotive industry, here's a tweet. May 1st, 2026. This was yesterday morning. This wasn't a tweet. It's a truth. Is that what it's called? Truth? Truth post? Truth.
Just spitting truth.
Just spitting truth. Here's a spitting truth from Donald J. Trump yesterday. He says, I'm pleased to announce that, by the way, anytime he starts something with like, I'm pleased to announce, it's normally about to be something bad. Based on the fact that European Union is not complying with our fully agreed to trade deal, next week I am increasing the tariffs charged to the European Union for cars and trucks coming into the United States. The tariff will be increased to 25%. It is fully understood and agreed that if they produce cars and trucks in USA plants, there will be no tariff. Many automotive and truck plants are currently under construction with over $100 billion being invested. Yeah, maybe. Record in the history of car and truck manufacturing. These plants staffed with American workers will be opening soon. There's never been anything like it, blah, blah, blah. Let's just take the first half of that. Tariffs increasing on vehicles coming into America. You're the car guy. What are some of the big European brands you think of? I just think of like Mercedes, Volkswagen. Is BMW European?
Yeah, they're all German, mostly German cars. Volvo comes from Sweden.
That Lamborghini just got more expensive too. Damn.
Yeah, there's the expensive Italian supercars, but we don't really import a lot of the regular. I mean, Mini would be included because they're UK.
Oh, Mini Cooper.
Aston Martin. But like we kind of only import their luxury vehicles.
Got it.
Like when you go over there.
Volkswagen's not a luxury vehicle, though.
Yeah, they're the only one that's not. You're right.
Volkswagen's probably, and Mini Cooper's kind of trending the line between higher end.
It's like compact luxury. Like it's expensive for what it is.
It's like, it's not your starter house. It's the second house.
It's double a Ford Focus.
It's not where you're going to retire, but it's like that midlife fun car. Yeah.
Mini? I think it's an old head car, bro.
You think it's an old head car?
Yeah, for old heads who like little things because they run into curbs and shit.
I think the Gen Z demographic is definitely getting more eclectic with how it wants to express itself. I could see more fun type cars coming to the front. Mini Coopers kind of lead the way in my brain of like, what's a fun little cute car?
A lot of the
Looks like
smaller
Minecraft.
European brands that have like tried to make it here, like Alfa Romeo brought a couple models over for a
I
little
do
bit.
not like Alfa Romeo cars.
They had the convertible and the Spider.
I've never seen an Alfa Romeo where it's like, wow, look at that car.
Fiat was here for a little bit. They tried to bring over their four-door and stuff. It just hasn't really worked for those smaller, more economic brands.
Yeah, it's like a European Honda. I don't get it. I'm also not a car guy. Not a car guy.
Dude, I was going to say, I got to see a bunch of Pugos and Citroens in France, and I was like...
A Pugo? What's a Pugo?
It's a French vehicle.
Okay.
You don't get them here. They don't sell them here.
Oh.
But they're gas. They're awesome cars.
Are they gas or do they run on gas?
Dude, they're sick as fuck. A lot of them are diesels, too. They got a ton of electric over there.
Oh. So diesel or electric are the main two options out there?
No, they have all of them.
All of them. Got it.
Diesel's a little more popular because fuel's just more expensive and people don't commute as much.
Got it. Okay, less commute. Can have a cooler vehicle.
Burns cleaner, better emissions.
Got it.
They care about that stuff.
Well, they're probably a little ticked off about the cost of diesel right now because diesel's going insane. All right,
High for them.
Let's bring up our next one. As we move forward, we have a growing number of Americans to bleed off from what we just talked about with tariffs, increasing cost of a vehicle, whether some, obviously not all, but the cost going up for some, all while things like auto insurance have gone up. The cost of commuting in that vehicle has gone up. And the cost of repairs have gone up. I had to get new wheels on my Hyundai. It cost $1,100 for 4 new tires on my Hyundai crossover. My 2016 150,000 mile Hyundai. $1,100 for tires. I can't imagine if you had like a jacked up truck or like an SUV.
Now, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Or a Camaro or something like with racing type. Oh my goodness.
Dude, my wife's Fiat 500 has 15-inch wheels on it, and it was $890.
That's insane. A growing number of Americans can no longer afford their car loans. This, according to the Kobeissi letter? Kobeissi letter? I like these guys. I don't know how to pronounce their name, though. They're usually pretty accurate economically. A record 42.6% of underwater car buyers turned to an 84-month loan to keep monthly payments manageable. So they extended the financing. They refied for more months to make it manageable. Being underwater means owning more on a car loan than the car is currently worth, resulting in negative equity. That's almost a half of car buyers right now. 42.6% underwater, negative equity. Rather than paying off the difference, many buyers roll this gap into their next loan, pushing themselves deeper into debt. The percentage has doubled since 2016. There goes that date again, 2016. How'd it feel then versus now? The percentage has doubled since then and is on track for its third consecutive annual increase. Buyers with negative equity finance an average of $56,000 for a new car in Q1 2026, $12,000 more than the average new vehicle buyer. As a result, their average monthly payment rose, oh my God, to $900. Am I reading that right? As a result, the average monthly payment for a car rose to $932, the highest average on record. In March, car loan default rates jumped to their highest since 2010. The auto loan distress is surging. Can we click on the graph real quick? I mean, just consistent. We were down in like the set looked like 17-ish in 2015, 20-ish in 2016, doubled. Holy cow.
There's so many issues with the car industry over the past 30 years that contribute to this too, from like quality, not only in manufacturing, but parts of the vehicle, especially OEM parts. So many vehicles in the 90s and 2000s, and you look back, had almost all metal components, and a ton of cars are covered in plastic or fiberglass components now. So they're becoming less safe. They're becoming less durable. Like, think about driving 80 miles down the highway. Mm-hmm. What's going to take more wear and tear aerodynamically? Those plastic bumpers or something with a little metal in it?
Got it.
And then especially because they've just continued, like car dealerships need to increase sales. A lot of them are privately owned. The way our economy works is if you're not increasing year over year, you're dying. So the way to do it is they just continue shopping and looking for new financial products to get more people in cars that don't have money down. So there's a huge shift in the amount of people putting money down towards cars. And car dealerships train to like talk people out of it. And the main reason is because they have financial plans with these banks where they get a kick of the percentage. So they're able to give you a better car deal the longer and further you finance it out because they get paid based on the total interest now. They're not getting paid purely based on the sale price of the car.
Like, I might be crazy. Talk me out of this if I am. I believe the first car I had was a 36-month financing period.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3 years.
What was your warranty on that car?
Warranty?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was just like a bumper-to-bumper something. It wasn't crazy.
My first car I got was Dodge Ram at 5-year, 100,000. If you go buy a Dodge Ram today, you get 3 years, 36,000.
Oh, so they've even lowered the warranty.
So they've extended the loans. You put less money down. They do not cover the parts as long, probably because their research showed that with the cheaper parts they were using to manufacture to increase their profits, those cars were not as dependable. So you get left in the situation where now instead of having a 4 or 5 year loan, you have a 6 and 7 year loan on a car that's only really covered warranty-wise for the first 2 to 3 years versus 4 to 5 years when the loans were 4 to 5. So you end up, that's what this is talking about, the underwater car buyers. Once you get out of warranty, when you get a problem with your car, and they go, oh, it's $2,800 to fix, what do people go? I don't have $2,800. I'll just buy a new one and finance it. And that's what is driving this up so much. It's deliberately engineered by the car industry to increase sales. That's why car payments have shot up so much. And it was especially prevalent after COVID because people didn't have cash. They spent all their savings.
I just want to find one industry where greed and profit hasn't wrecked it in the last 5 to 10 years. Like, I've yet to find one. I've yet to find one industry where we don't see mammon, greed, power hungry, lust for more, shareholder value being prioritized in every industry. From just like we were in DC for the rally against glyphosate being used to dry out crops earlier. So that they use a weed killer to dry out wheat so that they can sell it a bit quicker for a bit more, causing people to be poisoned by said glyphosate. I think it was Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Little cancer causing.
Just a little cancer causing in the Iowa Corn Belt. Yeah, no worries. Like, I want to find one. Yeah, Colby just said mega churches, like the religion, like everything has some inkling, if not a strong one, not even an inkling of corporate profits ruining the actual, what is it? Is it just the word fairness for the working class? Like, is fairness the right word? Because when I think about fair, I think about if wages were up, costs going up wouldn't matter. It would be apples to apples. Cost more, make more. Got it. Cost more, make more. Okay. But that's not happening. So I hate to just say, because life isn't fair, but it just doesn't seem fair across every niche. Food, healthcare, housing, cars. Dog, you talk about mini horses. Like, every industry has been poisoned by profit. I just want to find one that's not. I want to find one that's not.
What about AI?
AI might be our last chance. AI might be the last humane opportunity for corporate profit that actually benefits Americans.
LOL.
Because I can't think of one thing that would benefit the normal working class American than just, not even hundreds, just thousands of data centers. Thousands of them. Because how else am I supposed to run my AI hologram of my dead grandma to talk to her about how desperately in need I am of money to pay my rent while sitting in my 2-bedroom apartment that I'm renting for $3,000? And she's advising me, well, oh, just work harder because that's how it was back in her day. That's how she's programmed. I can't think of anything that would be better than me being able to talk to my dead grandma about how terrible the economy is and how better it was back in her day. I can't think of anything better. At least ChatGPT can tell me how to better optimize my workout plan. Yeah. Okay, let's keep moving through. We got a few more. This one specifically on AI as we're on the topic. This one drew my eyes in because it really shows how this is slowly working its way through the labor force. So it says, AI is reshaping the American workplace. 66.3%, that's 2/3, nearly, 0.3 off. 66.3% of U.S. workers earning over $200,000 a year used AI tools to work over the last 12 months, according to a Fed survey. Then it goes on to show how much AI usage is there between workers who make $100,000 to $200,000, or $50,000 to $100,000, or less than $50,000. Let's scroll down to the graph. For my video watchers, you can see here that in 2026, upon this survey by Arbor Data Science, over the last 12 months, people that make under 50K have used AI 15% of the time. 15% of the time they reported they have to use AI at their job or in some way, shape, or form for their labor. You go to 50 to 100K, it gets to 40%, 100 to 200K, 51%. But look where the majority of it's happening. It's happening amongst the majority of the people who already have a majority of the money. I just think for a split second, why do you think the ones in the higher income brackets are utilizing AI the most? Could it potentially be to optimize their own workflows so they can make more? Could it potentially be automating their workflows so that they can make more money?
Also, is AI free?
No. That's a good point.
So who's more likely to afford using AI?
But it's not expensive. It's not super expensive. You can get like a premium plan for like $100 on Claude.
For sure, but it depends on individuals' finances.
100%. $100 is a ton to some people. I don't want to dismay that.
When we looked at the car loans, and we know 43% of people aren't putting money down on cars and are upside down on their loans for 4 years.
Right.
They're paying $1,000 a month for that.
Right. This number right here, it didn't blow me away, but it just made me think this number's only going to increase. This number's only going to dramatically increase. And the person at their job making under $50,000, they're not utilizing AI that much, probably because the company knows that job is going to be AI. The administrative work, the working in data tables and scheduling and anything that has to do with the front desk, that's gone. That's done in the next 3 years max. Right? Talking to a human when you call a company is already hard enough, but now we're not even going to have call centers overseas. Now we're just going to have AI. AI is going to be responding to all emails. AI is going to be orchestrating all the remarketing efforts for companies. AI is going to be doing everything and more, and it keeps doing more. Every 2-3 months, we get a new Anthropic or OpenAI or something. It's like, wow, it's even crazier than we ever thought. A year ago, I had a debate with somebody who's made a career off of designing websites, and he was on the podcast, and I asked him, I said, are you afraid that your job is going to be taken by AI? He said, absolutely not. I do too much. AI makes too many mistakes. AI can build a website in a day now. It can build full-on apps that are fantastic, that are almost perfect after 2 or 3 instances of giving it a new prompt. A normal, everyday person with no coding experience. And you don't think this is going to progress? And I ask you, how does that improve the working class economy in a time where war's going on, forcing expenses to go up in every direction? A market where affordability is already tight? And now the people who make the most money are utilizing it the most because it makes them more money. And it's slowly but surely going to work the lower class individuals in the working class out of the system because they're not going to need it anymore. And if you know, the biggest line item on the expense side of any profit and loss sheet for a business, 99 times out of 99, it's payroll. Payroll is the biggest expense. And if you could start to knock a quarter of that, a third of that, a half of that off of your books, whew, shareholders are going to be pumped. Shareholders will be just so excited at that quarterly meeting to hear that there's been a layoff of 20,000 employees, but they're going to be able to maintain profit margins, maybe even increase them due to AI automation moving into their place. And I'm not trying to be black pilly doomer. I don't want you to sit in your car thinking, what the fuck? I don't want you to think that. You might think that, but that's not the point here. I'm not a scary guy. Like, I love to work out, pick up a good book. I love quiet time, stare at a wall, walk in nature. Got my garden. We got our chickens. I love time with family, going local, getting in community. I love all of that. I think all of that's accessible to you right now, no matter what's going on in the world. You always have you as your number one asset. I love you. I hope you love you, and I hope you take care of yourself. But what's going on right now is an inevitable path forward toward further struggles in affordability for the working class. And it's clear and evident. And I don't want you to get hit in the left side of your face from the unexpected blow of it in 2027, 2028 when it comes to fruition. It's happening live in front of us. We're watching the signs right now. Can I ask you real quick, what year did the 2008 Great Financial Crisis start? Like, what year did the economic effects that led toward the actual bank failures and the housing market collapse and the unemployment rate peaking to 10+%, this is my question, did the Great Financial Crisis of 2008 start in 2008? No. The effects took place, the repercussions took place in 2008 and beyond. But the play was set in motion before that. We can go back to, many economists will go back to 99, Glass-Steagall's repeal. Now banks can be whatever they want. Some look at 2004. There was a margin rule change that allowed banks to invest at margins that were unforeseen. It was like 1 to 50. It was at one time 1 to 12, which means 49 fake dollars are out there in existence in the investment spaces when one real one exists, okay? Allowing banks to be whatever they want and allowing them to invest money they didn't have, large part, led to the subprime loan crisis based off a collateralized debt obligation going sour that created the collapse. What I'm telling you right now is what we're walking through right now is going to be the future documentary about the economy. It's happening as we speak. And I'm not trying to be a doomer. I'm trying to be as realistic as I can. I'm trying to be as realistic and not even knowledgeable, because who am I? I'm a real estate agent in a basement in Delaware. My boy Joe over there on the computer I used to stream Fortnite on 5 years ago. Who the heck am I? But I'm just trying to read the writing on the wall. We have patterns that we can look back in history. We have patterns that we can even look back in this own administration, past administrations, on how this unfolds. You know, we're at war, and all wars in the past that we've looked back on have been banker wars. So what makes me feel that this one should be any different? I see corporations and billionaires profiting off of every skirmish that's happened across the planet for the last century. Why do I think this is any different? Since the Dodge v. Ford case, I believe it was 1919, 1916, we've seen every single company and corporation favor their shareholder over the normal everyday person every time. Ever since the Powell memo of 1971, we've seen corporations fall in line with being politically adjacent to whatever is beneficial to their bottom line. We've seen Citizens United, 2010, like we've watched the patterns unfold. Forgive me if I'm trying to describe the pattern as it's unfolding again. That's all we're trying to do here. Can we get to the next tab? Jesus, what's our next tab? What are we looking at here? A quick funny. So before we play this is Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, who has been in place in his position since 2017, I believe it was. Maybe it's 2018. I think it was 2017. Appointed by Donald Trump as a chairman of the Federal Reserve. He is now finishing out his term of 8 years. Yeah, so it must have been 2018. 8 years. This is his last meeting that he just had a few days back. He is going to be relieved from his position, presumably going to be replaced by Ron Lauder's son-in-law, Estee Lauder billionaire and Epstein Connect, Kevin Warsh. But this... He's going to be staying on the board of governors as an advisor, and I just thought this was a funny clip. I think it's worth a watch. He's a little jokester. He's
Howard
just a little
Schneider
jokester.
You mentioned that staying on as a governor, you intend to keep a low profile. I'm just wondering if you could give us a little more detail on what that looks like and how you can... Touche. Howard Schneider with Reuters.
He's keeping it light. It's his last meeting. It's like the last week of school.
Governor.
It's like the last week of school. You bring in the TV for movie day. Maybe you're allowed to wear PJs that Thursday. He's just keeping it chill. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will be staying on the board of governors. We'll continue to track him as we always track the Federal Reserve here on this channel. For those of you who subscribe, who are leaving a like on this or giving it some free engagement and an algorithm that is ever fighting us, I love you so much. And we'll continue to talk about the Federal Reserve, so that's of interest to you. Please make sure to stick with the channel. And if you so want to support us even more, you can join our $1 membership, YouTube membership for the $1 Club, or you can leave us a review if you're so inclined on Spotify or Apple. Love you so much. I mean it. The chairman position is going to be something we'll probably talk about on the next podcast and go in depth on. Either the next one or the one after, because there's a lot of conjecture and speculation that we can have around the next chairman, what he's going to do with rates, how he's going to fight inflation, if he's going to improve the job market. Is he just central casting because he's a son-in-law of a multi-billionaire who's friends with Trump? There's a lot to unpack, so we're not even going to begin here. But I thought Jerome, honestly, at his age, just being able to bend that quickly and within rhythm, I thought that was pretty impressive. Just a little bend down, the knee's still working. We're going to miss Jerome. The bro's moving. Joe, love you, brother. We got the Trump tracker. So I wanted to finish here because we're talking about affordability. And when we talk about affordability, there's a lot of predictions that can be made. I told you earlier I was going to finish on 3 predictions. So I wanted to bring this up as kind of a baseline for it, because it would be really easy, as we can see from the top line, not the top line, the 6 cells there. It'd be really easy to talk about things like fuel. Be really easy to make a prediction around fuel. We see residential natural gas at 47%, residential natural gas at 44%. Are those different? WI and IA? I don't know what the difference is there.
We have fuel by state because it varies. So Wisconsin's seeing the highest rises in natural gas. Iowa's seeing really high rise in natural gas. The Rocky Mountains, California, West Coast.
Got it. Poor Wisconsin. Jesus Christ.
We have a regional breakdown on major infrastructure like natural gas.
And you can find this. Well, I'll put it in the bio, by the way, trumptracker.org. This is free to use. No ads, no email. We made it so there's no membership required. You can donate to support the devs that created it, but no money goes toward me or our people. This is just for you. Created by the Integrity Index. It would be really easy to make a prediction around fuel. It's probably going to become more expensive and continue to be more expensive over the summer. I don't anticipate that the Strait opens in any reasonable way. And what I mean by reasonable way is I don't think it's going to be pre-Iran war open this summer. I think there's going to continue to be contention. I think these blockades aren't close to being done. And the Iranians want a toll. So whether it's because we're unfreezing their assets or we're allowing them to have this toll or they're somehow receiving reparations, I don't see how the Strait opens. I could be wrong there, but I think this continues on. And that's my first prediction, is that I think in 2 to 3 weeks, we're right back in this. I think 2 to 3 weeks from where we sit right here, Israel or America will bomb Iran. I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I hope not, by the way. I hope not. Nobody should pray or hope for missiles to fly. Nobody should hope for that. People will die. Families will be displaced. Infrastructure will be destroyed. Lifestyles will be ruined. But the patterns seem simple. We just terminated a war effort to make sure that Congress doesn't have to get involved in approving the war effort. So we've terminated seemingly Operation Epic Fury. It'll come back, maybe under the same name, maybe under a different one. I don't know how the headlines are going to try to camouflage it, but we're more than likely going to go back to attacks. Whether that's going to be based off of our greatest ally doing it first or us, we can already see our greatest allies already taking full advantage of Lebanon and Gaza during a ceasefire period. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. The second prediction is, though we're not seeing it fully right here on food and groceries, we see some slight increases, 1%, 2% on cereal, 4% on sugar and sweets, 4% on eggs. Stay up there. Oh my God, housing utilities, insane. Again, this is all available online too. This is not private to us. I think all these numbers keep going up. I think the cost of food, and I hate to say this one, but my second prediction is by August, food prices are going to be up. There's just no math around that I've been able to see that doesn't lead me to this conclusion, because there's two big factors, okay? Anytime we're looking at pricing, we have to view supply and demand at the baseline. Supply and demand is the baseline of all economic argument, especially when it comes to pricing. And right now we have an issue with both the supply and the demand, because right now, let's talk about food. The demand is there because people need food, but the cost going up is squelching, or is squelching the right word? Is squelching a word? Why is my brain saying squelch?
Isn't that like really hot? It's squelching hot out.
I thought that was scorching hot.
Scorching, sweltering?
Swelter. I don't know if squelching is a word.
Is squelch like to...
I thought it was to tighten.
You squelch a flame, maybe?
I think we're making stuff up.
Sure.
Maybe we need to Google if squelch is a word. I don't know if squelch is a word. There's more tightening.
We got it. To suppress, silence, or crush something.
I knew it! To suppress. Okay, so it'll be squelched. The consumer spending on food will be squelched further, as it already has. People are having to make decisions on what they're putting in their grocery cart more consciously. People are having to weigh the decisions between even rent and groceries, nevertheless, what stock to buy. So for all those thinking out there, well, Zach, stocks are going up. All you got to do is buy one. All you got to do, you can do fractional shares, $50, anything's beneficial. I get it. Owning assets, love it. Own an asset or be left behind. But there's certain people who are living directly off of income in a scenario where that income is no longer supportive of the modern day economy, that are having to decide between shelter and food. So let's put ourselves in the majority of Americans' shoes, because it is more than 50% that are in that position of feeling financially distraught. Food costs going higher is going to further that K-shape in our economy, because the upper side's not going to care. They're going to buy anyway. The bottom side is going to have to make even more difficult decisions. I believe food costs will continue to go up. And if you're looking for a date, August and September. By August and September, let's come back to this video and see what the numbers say, to say over the summer, did prices go up? Because the demand, though still there because we have to eat, we have to look at the supply. There are less farmers that are making any form of profit. There are less farms, as more and more mid to small sized farms are indeed closing shop. Record numbers of depression and SSI rates amongst farmers. All while tariffs are affecting farmers. This will be the first full year of that. Urea and fertilizer right now affecting farms and how they're going to plant seeds. And fuel. We can't forget fuel. Not just for getting the seeds in or ordering the fertilizer. Of course, that has to do with fuel costs, but operating their machinery, operating their mill, operating their tractor. Do the little rolling sprinkler things, do they need fuel? I'm sure they need something. They'll just roll on their own. Maybe they do.
Are you talking about an irrigation system?
Yeah, the big ones. Big ones will be rolling around, big old sprinkler boys.
Sure.
Yeah, what do those run on? There's got to be some.
They just sit there. You pull them, you tug them.
No, there's nobody just sitting there tugging. Those things are like 500 feet long.
Yeah, you hook up a tractor to one end. They go in a circle.
I've never seen a tractor hook up to one.
Oh, my God. I'll show you. Hold on.
You have to.
Keep going, and we'll end with me explaining how irrigation systems
Please,
work.
he's going to explain agriculture to me here at the end of this. There is less food that is going to be available, is all I'm trying to say. Because there is less urea or higher priced urea, nitrogenous fertilizer. So there's going to be a higher cost of either supplying the food to the distributors who distribute the food, or there's simply going to be less food because farmers are going to have to make tough decisions on how to survive in a market that's already been destroying them for the past few years. So we have a problem here. The demand's probably going to remain similar-ish because people need food, but people are already struggling to fill their grocery carts, and we're going to have less food available. So that means prices are going to go up. Less supply, similar demand, price goes up. That's the supply and demand metric right there at a very simple level. Supply goes lower, demand stays similar, prices go up. So that's my second prediction. Cost of food goes up. I'd say 5% or more is an easy bet between now and at least mid-fall. Again, August, September, it's going to start hitting. And you could possibly start seeing these companies pricing it ahead of time. I'm not 100% sure, but I know those conversations have to be happening in the boardrooms of major food providers. Third one, and this is one that dates back to April of last year. April of last year, we made a prediction that came true in December. In fact, we made a couple. We said in April there were two things that were going to happen. One, silver and gold were going to go up because the dollar was weakening. That happened. Maybe we got lucky, but silver had one of its best years of all time, if not its best year of all time. It corrected, but still remains almost quadrupled, at least tripled what it was at that time in March and April of 2025. And we also said that the Federal Reserve is either going to print money or we're going to see a bank crack. Only one of those two things could happen. Just simply based off the liquidity problem we've been going through. And we've touched on this many times on this pod. So we'll do another episode on this, on the liquidity crisis that we're currently suffering from. I'm not going to get into the nuance of it right now. The point of it being, we started printing through this thing called reserve management. I think it was December 12th of 2025. We announced it during our 2025 December meeting, FOMC meeting with Jerome Powell, formerly mentioned. And it was to the tune of about $24 to $25 billion. I even burped halfway through that because it's hard to even fathom. $25 billion a month being added into our economy. Did you see a headline about that? Did you see a panel on CNN or Fox News or CNBC debate this? Anything? Did you see anyone talk about the fact that the Fed's printing again? No? You didn't? It's because they disguised it with something called reserve management. Doing something slightly different by buying shorter-term bonds rather than longer-term bonds to avoid having to label it the almighty word quantitative easing. But here I am to say that we're going to need more of it. By the end of the year, there's one of two things that are going to happen. We're going to see that bank crack, or we're going to see more money printed at a higher scale. Kevin Warsh has stated many times, though, he does not want to print money. He thinks QE is the worst. He thinks expanding the balance sheet is not the right move. I think he's bluffing. I'll just say, I think he's bluffing. I can't, for the life of me, believe that if Donald Trump got the opportunity, which he does, to appoint the next Fed Reserve chairman, that he would appoint somebody who isn't in favor of low rates and money printing. Because that's honestly the only way this economy is going to thrive throughout the end of his term, is if we were to print again. And when I say thrive, I mean similar to what happened after 2012 and 14 and 2020 when we printed money, which means assets climb while everything becomes a little bit more expensive. We've talked about the canteen effect here before. Richard Cantillon, Irish-French economist from the early 1700s, 18th century, stating that when money is added to an economy, when the monetary base is expanded, when more of the currency is flowing, when no actual value has been brought, there's nothing new, there's nothing more that's adding value to that economy, but you simply add currency to it, that only three people benefit: the banks, the government, and asset holders. So if you're one of those three, you love money printing. If you're not, try to get an asset or open a bank. You could do either of those things. So here's my three predictions. 2 to 3 weeks. We'll have this one soon. Let's just call it by the end of May. By the end of May, strikes will begin again. I hope they don't. I hope tomorrow they announce, hey guys, we settled it. We figured it out. We're maybe paying some reparations. We got the strait open. Everything's honky-dory. I just don't think that's going to happen. I've seen way too many times where we've shifted the plan. I've seen way too many pushing of we're going to be done in 2 to 4 weeks. It's almost done. It's almost done. Hey, Israel, don't strike. And then Israel strikes. Hey, we have a peace agreement. Iran says we're not talking to you. Hey, we're going to negotiate. Iran doesn't show up. I've seen way too much of that to believe this is over. So I'm just going to say within May, strike happens again. Food costs will go up over the summer. You'll see it at least by August, September, mid-fall. 5%, I would say, is an easy bet. Why were you on GeoGuessr? Are we going to end this with a GeoGuessr round?
I was trying to show you. I was trying to show you specific farm for the irrigation thing, dude. The 1, 2, and 3 thing's tricky. I got to remember that.
Not GeoGuessr.
Ignore the riff, dude. You're
I'm
cooking.
like, why do we
Just
have that
keep
tab?
cooking.
I don't remember
Just
that tab.
Keep cooking.
That threw me off. I love it. Also, Joe is a registered world phenomenon in the GeoGuessr space. He is a household name in the geoguessing space. He's shaking his head. I've watched the guy work. The guy went to France recently and was taking pictures with things he recognized from GeoGuessr.
That's true. I did that.
The guy's in there. First one, we're going to strike again. Second one, food prices are going to go up. We went through the supply and demand of that. The third is we're going to print or crack. Could be, and it could be reversed. We could see a crack and then print. We saw that in 2008. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns crack, October, money print. We saw COVID, threat started to emerge, liquidity crisis happened in October 2019, print. We already started printing again, just not in some giant mass announcement. So our predictions have come true at least up until this point. But again, I don't think it's done. I don't think we're printing enough. I don't think, and it sounds crazy to say that just under $500 billion in a year isn't enough. But to put in perspective, after COVID, we had printed a total of $9 trillion. $9 trillion had been added in total since 2008 to the reserve of the Federal Reserve. And about, I think it was $4 trillion or $5 trillion of that was in one print. So again, going back to the discussion, are things better or worse than they were 10 years ago? A lot saying worse, at least affordability wise. I would use that same exact argument to say that the aggressiveness of the printing has to be that much stronger. Think of it like an addict. You know someone who does meth? Anybody? Have you ever seen anybody who does meth say they want to do less of it? Or anybody who's trying to chase the dragon of that high, pursue something, like switch back to weed? You ever see that? It's not normally how it goes. Because when you fulfill that high and then you come back down, you want to hit it again. A little more. Then you're itching again and a little more. Printing only $500 billion over the course of a 12-month span in the current status of our addicted economy, and what I mean by that is the corporations are addicted to more liquidity. Robin Williams had a great bit on liquidity being the drug of choice for corporations and billionaires, but they need more liquidity. They're itching for more money, more flexibility, more profit margins, more stock buybacks, more. And I think giving $500 billion to the economy over a 12-month span is like putting a nicotine patch on a meth addict. I just don't think it's going to help. I just think it's It has its uses, but the nicotine patch is not the use case for what we're going through right now. I think we're going to have to inject, like press the syringe into the arm with a similar size, if not larger syringe than what we saw in COVID. I could be wrong. Heck, maybe it's the exact opposite, where Kevin Warsh is being put into this position. Let's think about the opposite real quick. What if Kevin Warsh is being put in this position to not print money and to keep rates high, to the top of the economy that way? There's a few different ways that you could look at this. But I think they're going to print more money, or else we're going to see a bank crack. Could happen the other way around. I think that happens before the end of the year. We'll see that. We'll keep track of that. Do we have any more tabs that we're going through, or is that all of our tabs? All right.
That was everything, man.
What do you got for our agriculture? You said you were going to finish us off with something.
Yeah, we're on 500th Ave here, just north of Greeley, Nebraska. So this is 2 fields. See the circles?
Yeah, those are aliens, right?
No, this is the irrigation system. So this looks like on, and then over here you have on. So what happens is you run a pump system to all your fields. So this is where the water hookup is, the well. And then you just extend the pieces and run the hose, and then you just tug this end around in a circle to place it.
So at the end, on the outside of the circle,
Yeah.
it's almost like back in math class. What was that
It's
device?
like you tow it with like a truck or a tractor.
And someone's doing that manually?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can get ones, like you can put engines on them so they move, but
Interesting.
so it just goes in a circle. That's how irrigation system works. Water
Well,
hookup.
Proving the need of fuel.
And then look at all of them. Look at all of them.
Whoa! Oh, and they all are in these weird little circles. Look at little pimples.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
That's why if you're on an airplane, that's what that looked like.
Well, those look more like squares.
You got a lot of water out there.
Yeah. Wow. What state are we in right here?
This is Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yep.
Little flyover
Yep,
state.
yep.
Makes sense.
Yep, Greeley was where I went to for some reason.
Shout out Greeley, Nebraska from the friends out
Yeah,
there.
if you know anybody from Greeley, tell them you love them.
Just outside of Grand Island.
Near Broken Bow. It's
Why is an
lovely out
area of Nebraska named Grand Island?
there. Maybe they have one.
Maybe they had one.
Damn, that street view looking rough.
Well, that's all I have for today, guys. We have been keeping tabs on affordability, the economy. We continue to do so. I'm a real estate agent, so the last thing I thought I'd ever be commentating on is war politics or what's going on halfway across the planet. But the problem is the things that are going on halfway across the planet are the same exact reason you can't afford a house. Same exact reason that we are fighting this war, that we're going after billionaire benefits, and we're going after the war efforts that are required by a whole other country, not even our own. We're there because of another country asking us to go there, because of Israel asking us to go there. That's been said by the Department of State. It's been said by Pete Hegseth. It's been said by Marco Rubio. It's been said by Trump himself. Okay, that's not a debate at this point. They thought they were going to strike Israel, so we went in and did it first. Okay, now all of that to say, every war is a banker's war. Corporations are going to benefit from the war that's going on right now. The same exact reason they're about to build a luxury resort strip in Gaza. The same exact reason BlackRock already has a contract to rebuild Ukraine. The same exact reason in World War I, the Great War, JP Morgan had pretty much financed not only all the war efforts for all the allies, but also financed the rebuild. Bankers benefit from turmoil. As we've talked about with a guy like Howard Lutnick, he's mastered the art of profiting off chaos. That's what we're watching right now. And even if that's not the case, even though we've seen the oil insider trading, the weird poly market insider moves, we've seen that. Putting all that to the side, is this war in any way, shape, or form benefiting our economy? No. Just flat out, it's not. There's no argument you could give toward it. It's not benefiting our economy. They're going to want to get bombed. They can't reach us, so stop. They're fighting a war for their own power dynamic, for their own place in history, for their own pocketbooks, at the expense of the working class. And it's the same exact mindset that has allowed for housing to become unaffordable, that has allowed for childcare to become unaffordable, that has allowed for your entire life to become this financial bubble where you're slowly losing oxygen. The same exact reason you make more money now than you did 5 years ago, but feel broker, is the same exact reason we're at war with Iran. It's billionaires making decisions for billionaires and nobody else. Or religious texts, the promised land and greater Israel. It has nothing to do with you.
Old Jersey.
Old Jersey. I've already said it 7 times, so we're just going to keep at it.
I know.
This channel's flagged. This channel's flagged the heck, so I can say all the words. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to this. Hit the subscribe button because the algorithm's fighting us heavy. Prove to the algorithm you rock with the content. Leave a like. It's free. It's the same reason the Epstein list didn't get released. It's the same exact reason you can't afford a house. Like this, that is why we're on this track. That's how we've gotten here. That's why I'm here in the basement on episode 64 talking about the economy and what's going on in the geopolitical spheres and the Federal Reserve and the legislation that's being proposed in Congress. That's why I'm talking about this shit. I'm not political, never had been, and I guess I am now, but more so I just want people to afford the normal everyday lifestyle. I want to get back to a world where 1.5 income within a household is enough to not have to hustle on the weekends. Is enough to be able to keep your kid home and not have to pay for childcare, or at the very least for that childcare to not be the same as the mortgage. I'd like for a world where you don't have to spend on average $900 to get a car off the lot or have to refinance it because you can't afford it anymore and do a 7 and 8 year loan. I want a world where we don't have to talk about 50-year mortgages. But the same exact reason we're talking about these things is because the elitists have drained the economy from the top. They have trickled down. They tricked us into thinking trickle down was going to work, and they trickled it up. The wealth gap is larger than it's ever been. Poverty is more widespread amongst the working class than it's been in the last 100 years. And now our debt has exceeded our GDP for the first time since World War II. So nothing in our economy looks great right now. And that's why I want to create this opportunity for you to know that I love you. You're a little bit better informed, I hope, over the last hour and a half, and will remain so as we continue to bring more information and more content as we look to expand how much we can even put out to keep you better informed, bring on better guests, better sources, better content. And I need you to know that you matter. You're loved. I love you at the very least. I care about you, and I hope you're taking care of yourself and that you're the number one asset. You can still fight by developing a skill, something with your hands, something with your feet. You don't have to sell feet pics, but something that involves your body and not just your brain on a computer. I want you to get into the gym, go for a walk, join the local soccer club. I want you to go to the farmer's market and talk to that old person that normally annoys you. I want you to get into the community and realize there's more to life than just this oligarchic control. Because by the way, even though it's happening, there's not much we can do to stop it unless we all band together and do something. And I haven't seen a place right now in this world where everybody agrees on enough to be able to band together and stop it. So you might as well focus on you a little bit and your family a little bit. Some meditation, some reading, a spiritual text, not doom scrolling, protecting your brain, staring at a wall for an hour. Protect your brain, protect your soul, protect your heart, protect you and the people that matter most. It might sound corny, and it might sound, oh, he's being all woo-woo. There's only so much you can control, and that's you. We're talking about a lot of things outside of that. And it can be depressing. It can be, you can walk away from this thing, oh, it's a little worse than I even thought it was. I want you to take care of you in this scenario. We're going to continue to update. As we get good news, we'll report it. As we see economic lights at the end of the tunnel, we'll talk about it. But for right now, this war is benefiting nobody. You're being lied to, and the war is probably going to keep going, and it's going to force costs for you to go up. It's going to force further liquidity strikes. Good Lord. Liquidity problems, I'll just say problems, across the macro sphere. Banks, corporations, we're already seeing companies showing quarterly reports under what they thought they were going to be because consumer spending is halted. Housing market's not picking up. Car market's not picking up. Something's going to crack or we're going to print. So we have a few predictions to walk through that we can pop back into maybe in 4 or 5 months. See if or when they came true. I hope none of them come true. I hope food gets less expensive. I hope we don't go back to war. And I hope that there is no bank crack and or money printing because that's never benefited our economy. What do you got here? I was
going to say, to end the episode, I'll make a devil's advocate prediction.
Please.
As I play GeoGuessr in the background for our viewing listeners, some NMPZ. I actually think that we are done with Iran, but we're going to choose a new project. I think that because of the way the government is being operated in the tech sector, we are a little bit dependent on... This is a tough one. Yeah.
Oh!
I think we are dependent on keeping the war machine moving, and like Trump teasing Cuba in that Florida. I don't know where we're going to strike next. I do think there's going to be some sort of military operation. I think we did Venezuela on the name of oil. I think when we look at those numbers we started with, talking about crude oil and gas, it makes a lot of sense. We see these oil companies who have lobbied the Trump administration to some of the highest levels of wealth we've ever seen. I think those people are... I think they're still in the air. And I think we did the 60 days in Iran, and it's fascinating because we have a Republican Congress, but they still couldn't pass war powers resolutions for Trump, so he had to back out of it. So even the rest of the Republican Party doesn't want to participate in this Iranian thing, despite the stuff they're saying in their interviews. So,
and we're about to lose the Republican representative that seems to has the most logic over his shoulders, in Thomas Massey.
He might win.
He might, but it's not looking good.
This one's tough, bro.
The millions that they're plugging into bashing him in Kentucky is crazy. And that midterm election, that's 2 in Mexico. Dog, I was backing you up. You're not really showing off for us.
Now we're good.
You're not showing off
now
for
we're
us.
good. It's
okay,
fine.
we got that one.
It's been a while, you know what I mean?
What is this place? What do you think?
It's somewhere in Africa.
What's sticking out to you? We're going to end on this.
A lot of Indonesian flags, though, and it's so red. I don't know what the red means in Indonesia.
Clay?
So
is that what that means?
Red. It's got to be some sort of island or something. Let's go East Noosa.
Oh, you were closer on the first one.
Here, we'll do one more. We'll do
one more for our viewing audience, and then we're going to chap off. What are we looking at here? Is that like, you think that's America?
Tennessee, bro.
No way that's America. You think so?
No, it's Europe.
Man,
it's just where my parents live. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not good. Like, if I go into streams now, they ignore me. They don't even care I'm there anymore.
What is this? It's just a dirt road.
I hate this compass. Yeah, just some red stuff. Let's go up here. Nah, Brazil.
Oh,
my first thought was Brazil.
Okay, so based off of the guardrails there, what do you think this is? Because I know that's what you're looking at.
I don't really know. It's definitely Europe. It's super flat.
Okay.
These blue reflectors are weird. I haven't played this game in like 2 years.
Give me Austria.
You like Austria?
I like Austria,
like
or
Slovenia.
Slovenia.
Kind of like France again. It was Hungary.
Oh, I was right next to it, baby.
Hungary, super flat.
Right next to
This
it.
is a good one. I'm also not looking around, which makes it really tough.
What do we got here? Costa Rica?
I don't think so.
No? Roads too developed here? What are we looking at?
Might be right. I'm just going to click Mexico and hope for the best. It was Panama.
It's right next to it.
All right, last one.
I'm snapping, guys. Wait, I didn't see the picture. What are we looking at here?
Thailand.
Let me see. What makes you think Thailand?
The
tree
concrete
style?
roads. Yep, it was Thailand.
Thailand. So why'd you pick the Philippines if you said Thailand?
I'm just trying to see how low of a score I can get.
All right, guys. We're going to finish off with that. Love you so much. Play the song on our way out, baby. Somebody's scared. Turn her up. Turn her up.